Hi. Oh, dang it.
No, that was such a good start. Hi, I'm your plastic and enthusiastic host, Rio Lefevre.
Hi. I'm your fantastic scholastic host, Will Kauser.
We're also joined in the studio today by two very special guests. One is our pet dog, Crunchwrap.
He'll be in and out of the recording if
video.
you're watching. Hopefully you'll only be able to tell on the video version.
And then our secondary guest is the Barbie Rapunzel doll that I won from last week.
We're so honored this week to be joined in the studio by Barbie as Rapunzel. She's looking perfect.
Stunning.
Her hair magically grows.
I'm enamored with her completely. I'm sure we'll talk about her at length in TikTok content or something.
Just for those of you who are in the business, who are in the market, rather, these can run you upwards of $100. You don't have to do that. We got her for like $15 on eBay.
Yeah.
These are affordable dolls.
You can buy them. You can just buy them. They're actually not, like, unless you're trying to get like a 1959 mint condition striped swimsuit Barbie doll, they're like not that expensive. That's my challenge, listeners. Get yourself a little Barbie doll. Pick one out.
Yeah, get the one that you always wanted as a kid and send us a picture of it.
It's so good.
That will actually just make you happy.
Yourself.
Yeah, do that. You deserve it.
Yeah.
We said it's okay. Mm-hmm. You've been working hard. Mm-hmm. You've got a little bit of extra money now. Mm-hmm. You like things that make you feel happy. That's what money's for.
Yeah.
Just go ahead and you always wanted the 11th dancing princess.
Yeah.
Let's see how much she costs.
You have to buy it now and like work on, getting to know her so that when you bring her to your first watch of Barbie by Greta Gerwig, you guys already kind of know like what you're going to be wearing. You already know
this is
what the
crucial.
vibe is.
That's such a great point.
You've got to get your Barbie doll now so that you can plan where you're getting drinks afterwards.
Yeah, you got to start building rapport right now with your Barbie doll. Everybody, your challenge this week is to pick your Barbie doll that you're bringing to Barbie.
Yeah.
This June. Mm-hmm. I'll need to take a look.
Yeah, you got to get one.
I got to find me a Barbie.
Yeah. What are we talking about this week?
I was going to say, I think I have a guess right now. If I would pick anything.
Yeah.
I like Elise a lot.
Annalise?
Dang it. These names are hard.
Annalise from this movie?
Yeah.
From what movie? What movie are we talking about?
Barbie as the princess and the pauper.
Yes. And guess what, everybody? This is the best one, and it's all downhill from here. This is objectively the best one. Actually, right after this came out, Star Tribune referred to this film as the Citizen Kane of children's film. So I can only imagine that our peers over at Is It Better Than Citizen Kane will be covering this movie shortly. Give them a listen, by the way. I'm sure they'll be talking some Barbie content very
soon. It's fun. I was on it. We talked about Jaws.
Yeah, so give that a listen.
Go pop over to Better Than Citizen Kane. Did they really say that?
They literally did say that. Star Tribune said that it is the Citizen Kane of the children's film genre.
I thought that was going to be like my fun, cool line this time around. People have just been unanimously agreeing on it for 20 years.
For 20 years.
It's really good.
Yeah.
We'll get to that.
There's roses in it,
1,000
too.
times.
It's very Citizen Kane-y.
Yeah, and butterflies.
Butterflies.
Citizen Kane's chock-a-block full of butterflies, if you haven't seen it.
Yeah. Babe, is there a framing device for this one?
Oh my gosh. No.
No.
Not at all.
No, there is not.
There is a framing device, but it's just a narration.
Yes.
By an unnamed third figure.
Barbie.
It's not Barbie, because it's not Kelly Sheridan that does the narration. It's another actress who sounds exactly like Kelly.
It is?
Okay, there are like 4 people doing Barbie impressions in this movie, and they are all indistinguishable. There's Kelly Sheridan,
who is the voice of
Barbie.
Annalise?
And
Erica. Okay.
And has been the voice of Barbie since Nutcracker.
Yeah.
There is the narrator, who sounds a lot like Barbie, but
it's not Kelly Sheridan?
a different voice actress. And then there are vocalists for each of the princess and the pauper.
Yes.
They each have their own Singing in the Rain bespoke vocalists who sound exactly like each other to me, and like Kelly Sheridan.
Yeah.
It's kind of insane.
There's some great vocal performances. It's really
I mean,
wonderful.
Are you just going to say that and not speak his name early on?
Well, okay.
I think
we gotta. Let's address the setup. There are 2 baby girls born. They're like identical, except one's blonde and one's brunette. They're born on the same day at the same time. One is Annalise. She's blonde. She is the princess. And then one is Erica, who is born into poverty and indentured servitude. Is the only way that her parents can keep her alive. And they both sing this opening number about wanting to be free, because Annalise has to marry a king from another kingdom in order to save her kingdom, because their main export of gold ran out. And Erica is an indentured servant, so you can imagine what her struggles are.
What an incredible, just like, shorthand to do for movies, to be like, our kingdom mines and sells gold. Like, that's the most fundamental, like, teaching kids about economic crisis that you could ever do.
What is a good that we can sell? Gold.
We make money. We're all out of money.
Darn.
That is, like, the premise of this movie.
Yeah.
That first song, I'm, like, always so ready to be really skeptical about it. I go into these movies, like, so ready to love them, but there's so many things that they need to do for me to get there, of just like, this can't hate girls, which I feel like is common in film that is made for girls.
That's true.
And it can't, like, dehumanize the characters. There's things that I need this to do for me. So this first song of, like, the princess being like, I sure wish my life was different. I'm so ready for it to be like, one of you doesn't want to be an indentured servant, and one of you is sick of being rich.
Yeah.
And these are not equal. But I think that the forced marriage angle that they take on this is very sympathetic.
Yeah.
And it's very scary. And it's a really interesting way to introduce young people to the idea that girls are commodified. And that this country runs out of its financial export, and so they have to sell. So they
financially export Annalise.
They literally have to sell their daughter, and that's like the plot of this movie, which is really scary, like terrifying.
Yeah, it's also implied that it's like pretty abrupt. Like, she's a princess, and I suppose like an arranged marriage is like always a risk. But it's kind of like, hey, sorry, girl, we've run out of money. Either everyone in the kingdom dies, or change of plans, you have to marry this guy. And I think it is very sympathetic too. Yeah. That's hard.
Does Annalise come from a way more privileged spot than Erica? For sure.
Yeah.
But is her problem, like, even if you're the most privileged woman in this country, they're still going to sell your body for money, which is, like, crazy that that's what this movie is about. And was really engaging, like, right off the bat. From this first song. This is the first one with original music.
Yes.
And it's the first one that's just a straight up musical.
Yes.
And it's good.
It's very good.
I'm going to drop the theater degrees reference. We've studied this, and it's pretty fun. Yeah. Like, it's fun music. If this musical, like a Princess and the Pauper adaptation that was exactly this, minus Barbie, came out in, like, the 30s, which doesn't sound like a compliment, but it is. If this came out in the 1930s, it would be revived on Broadway every 10 years.
Yeah, it's true.
That's
very true. The music is, we noted this, it is, like, pretty Sondheimy.
Super Sondheimy.
It's very Sondheimy, and
like,
it's very charming. I don't know, I think that just lends to such a fairy tale feel.
It's very really Sondheim meets Rodgers and Hammerstein, like, very classical musical.
Yeah, like Rodgers and Hammerstein if it wasn't boring.
That's so true.
And I said it, and I mean it.
And we need to take one last big picture step back before we really get into the nitty gritty, which is, this is a Mark Twain adaptation.
Yes.
Something happened in between Barbie of Swan Lake and Barbie as the Princess and the Pauper. Something happened where someone saw those 3 movies and said, this is a great concept. What if we actually made this really good?
Yeah.
Instead of just, like, going halfway. You don't do the easy adaptation.
Yeah.
This doesn't have to just be like the ballets that you know that people are probably familiar with. This is like, let's do classical American literature.
It's also like a fully reimagined interpretation of the Mark Twain story, Prince and the Pauper.
Yeah.
Like it follows the same like premise of a royalty and a pauper.
And they swap.
But it's completely reimagined in a really like exciting storyline that kind of keeps your main character from being like extremely naive. It reduces some of the just like naive privilege that the royalty character in the Mark Twain story has of just like, oh, I'd love to just switch places for a day while my father's dying. That's fine. And it kind of puts Annalise in more of a more sympathetic and actionable role, I guess.
Totally. It's really good.
It's
Whichever
really good.
one of you insane people decided that we needed to do a Mark Twain musical as the next Barbie movie and then landed that pitch and nailed that pitch.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. You changed my life. Anyway, so after that opening number, we dive into the mines. It gets a little bit spooky. It is like kind of a scary, like
scary
entering
shot.
the mines kind of horror movie-esque
It gets spooky
shot.
for 5 seconds and then it gets real silly
And then it gets real silly really fast. We're introduced to Nick and Knack, who are helping clear out the mine of all of its gold for Preminger. Preminger is like the queen's like advisor figure, something like that.
Sounds right.
But he has actually stolen all of the gold. The mine didn't run out of gold. He took it all. And we have this incredible song by the man, the myth, the legend, Martin Short, who gives us a literal masterclass in acting the song. It's insane. And especially following right after Frasier last week. It's phenomenal. Like, Martin Short isn't just Martin Short as a bad guy. We were saying this, like, he has developed a full character for Preminger, and it is incredible. But he gives this really wonderful performance saying that he's got this plan to kidnap the princess so that the betrothed marriage doesn't actually work out and the king dips. And then Preminger's like, and then I will marry Annalise, which is just so unhinged.
He wants to take over the kingdom.
Yeah.
It's a great song. What's this song called? It's a great song.
How Can I Refuse?
Look it up. You've probably heard it on TikTok. It was viral. A couple of the songs.
I actually follow just a Preminger Stan account. A first account, really.
Really, it's just fan cams of Preminger.
Fan cams of Preminger.
The second shot you get of Preminger is just the camera like right below him, and he does this like hip hop like very low angle point.
Yes.
It's pretty sexy.
So we bounce back to Annalise, who is lamenting that now she has to marry a king and her life's going to be totally different. But fortunately, she has this hot tutor friend, Julian, who's like, hey, why don't we just go walk through your kingdom that you've never seen ever before you leave it forever for another kingdom? And she's like, that's dope. I would love that. So they head out on the town where she runs into a girl singing in the village. And that is Erica, the pauper. And she deposits some like change for Erica while she's singing.
Deposits some change. She gives her
you gotta
money.
help me out, man. I don't know what I'm saying.
She gives her money for singing. You're doing great. It's just,
let me just start over. So Annalise is out on the town with Julian. She comes across Erica, who is singing for money to make a little extra cash. Annalise tips her, and then they lift their... Oh, there is a funny moment where Annalise is like, no one can recognize me. Because she has on this,
She's got her royal
blue
dress
cape
on.
underneath, like, the most beautiful, sparkly pink gown that is covered in Swarovski crystals. And she's like, I blend in so well.
It's a half cape. It's a hood.
It is like a hood. And you can still see
trail that covers her back.
all of her.
It's really great.
But anyways, they both pull off their hoods. And they're like, what's your name? And she's like, I'm Annalise. And Erica's like, that's the same name as the princess. And Annalise is like, well...
Yeah. Actually, it's really kind of endearing in the Barbie way. Annalise always, also I said earlier that I wanted the Annalise doll. I want the Erica doll.
The Erica doll.
I like Erica a lot.
Okay.
Annalise always, in the very Barbie way, is like very happy to tell people that she's the princess.
Yeah.
And it's not even like, it's not annoying or anything. It's just...
Yeah.
Kind of cute. She's just happy about it.
Well, and the two go on to, like, kind of discuss what their lives are like.
Oh, no, they don't. They go on to sing the best song ever written.
It's true. I'm just like you. You're just like
me. I looked it up because I was so excited about it. I Am a Girl Like You is the name of the song. And it's very good.
Yeah, it is.
It's good songwriting.
It is.
Because they're like, oh, wow, we look exactly alike. We must have so much in common. And they're like, tell me about your life. And she's like, well, I eat breakfast in bed and then try on 1,000 dresses. And
I just wish I could do science. That's also a little bit of a plot point, is that Annalise loves science.
Each of these characters have their kind of super objective, right? Like, this is working on all the storytelling levels, where Annalise and Erica both want the swap for, like, some pressing, urgent reason. But they also want something more than that out of life. Like, Erica wants to be a singer.
Yeah.
That's, like, what she really wants to do. And she's a dressmaker.
Yeah.
In an indentured
Which, again, with the Barbie thing, like, in this song, Erica does take a lot of pride in what she does. You know? Like, she's saying, like, oh, I made the dress that you're wearing. And there, when she's talking about sewing the gowns, it's not, like, gray and dismal and, like, poverty-stricken. It is, like, there is wonder and joy in dressmaking. And the femininity that comes with that. And I appreciate that a whole lot.
Yeah, they both love what they do. But and Annalise wants to, like, be a natural historian, like, scientist.
Yes. Which ladies, cool. It's okay to be grateful for what you have and want more. Yeah. That is what this song is about.
So true. Yeah. That is what that song's about. And
about companionship of feminine strife, I guess.
Yeah, because they're both like, they're singing a song about how they could not be any more different. And their only reaction to that is like, oh, we're the same.
We both take responsibility. We both have a duty to do.
We both make huge sacrifices for our families. It's cool. It's really good. Is this where they hatch the plot? Right on the spot?
They never hatch a plot.
Oh my gosh, you're right.
They never hatch a plot.
This is not a Parent Trap situation.
There is never a plan to swap places. No Lindsay Lohaning going on, other than the fact that Barbie plays both Annalise and Erica.
Julian hatches the plot.
Yeah, but later.
But much later.
And out of necessity.
They're just like, we're the same person. Bye.
Annalise promises to have Erica come sing at the castle, which Erica is, like, super stoked about because that would be, like, her big break. But I would imagine that she doesn't take it extremely seriously.
That's not gonna happen.
You know?
Yeah.
That's a rich person promise, you know what I mean? But that night, Annalise is abducted.
Yep.
She's fully kidnapped by Preminger and Nick and Knack, along with her cat.
Preminger does this great little shadow puppet realization where he's like, the princess is gonna get married. That's a problem. So if I just kidnap the princess and then declare that she's disappeared and then I find her and bring her back, the queen is going to
Everyone's going to be like, you're the best spouse ever. So what? They kidnap her cat and they terrorize Serafina. So that Barbie, Annalise, is like, are you okay? And then they kidnap her. And that is the inciting incident. Boom.
There's a lot of animals in this. Serafina is Annalise's cat.
Yes.
And what's the dog cat's name?
Oh, his name is Wolfie.
Wolfie is Erica's cat who barks.
Yes.
He's adorable.
And
Preminger has this awful poodle with a Brooklyn accent.
Yes, and his name is Midas, and he has a gold tooth that, like, his whole jam is that he does not want to lose this tooth.
And that he's from Brooklyn. You know.
Which we were talking about this. I appreciate the, like, melodrama aspect of a Barbie movie where it's like, either act the lines, or if you can do a funny accent, we'll make it work.
Yeah, like, give us the thing that you think fits the character the most, or the funniest
voice that you can make.
And Martin Short wins the series for doing both. For making it work both ways.
Yeah. Preminger announces that Annalise has actually just run away. Because we have King Dominic, who shows up to marry Annalise, but he doesn't want any pretenses. And so he shows up as a page to first just kind of get a vibe for Annalise, but she's run away. But Julian, Annalise's science tutor, reads her like
science tutor.
Hot
it's
science
important
tutor.
To
that is
always
important.
Remember the tension.
Yes. He has like the buccal fat removal thing, so he's just got this like gaunt, ghostly kind of look, and it really works for me.
Yeah, and a ponytail.
Yeah. He's really something. But he, like, takes her, like, runaway note and smells it and is like, lilac? That doesn't make any sense. Because I know that Annalise always scented her stationery with rose. Which I just have to say right away, this movie has, like, perfect men. Like, like when they're wandering through the village, Annalise is like, wow, that smells delicious. And Julian takes that as his cue to be like, I'm gonna go get you some of that. Or like he gets her a rose because she knows that she loves roses. Like they're just so tuned in to like just offhanded things that the girls say and are so ready to please.
Yeah.
And I love that.
The standard is off the charts. These are great men.
That is a staple for a Barbie movie. I think is a simp. It's
gotta
important.
have a simp.
It's important. And we've got Ryan Gosling, so I know for a fact we've got that.
He's playing
covered.
a simp for sure.
For sure.
We've got two great simps. Like,
two great
lovable
simps.
simps in this.
We haven't even really met King Dominic, but he's just so charming and just like wants to get to know the real princess, you know? It's really wonderful.
There's no amount of like roll your eyes, this is gonna end in a wedding because it has to. Yeah. Because the filmmakers know that
there is such a believable romance going on, which we'll get into in a little bit. But so Annalise is gone, and this is where the plan is hatched with Julian. Do you want to tell us about that?
He met Erica.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and he noticed like, the resemblance is uncanny.
These girls look exactly the same. He, by the power of being able to identify flowers by smell.
Yeah. Because he's a scientist.
Because he's a science simp.
Because he's a scientist.
/ simp. It's both of those superpowers of his that allow him to solve this problem. He's a great scientist and a great simp.
True.
And so he hatches this plan to go get Erica and to teach her how to be a princess and have her stand in because he's on to Preminger. Mm-hmm. And so if the princess just shows back up and Premiger's really thrown off, this is like Hamlet style. They'll know that he did it. And then they can go and find Annalise.
Yeah.
And that's what they do. Goes and gets Erica. He shows up. Is this where he shows up? And she's like, oh, is it time?
Because she's so excited. Because she's like, oh, you're actually serious. I'm going to sing at the palace. This is so exciting. And then he's like, actually, can you put on this wig and pretend to be Princess Annalise?
Which she's like also fine with.
Yeah, she's chill with it. And they have this wonderful song, To Be a Princess.
Okay, it's the best.
It's the best.
Because this is the love interest of the other princess. It's the best, most wholesome song about adult male-female friendship.
Yeah, it is really wonderful.
Like, we get this whole arc of just these two people really loving each other deeply
and
as
just wanting
friends
each
and
other
the
to
best.
succeed and welcoming each other into their lives, and it's really, really fun. This also has the best blooper. This movie has like bloopers at the end.
It sure does.
Where Julian's like explaining how to be a princess, and then in the blooper he just freaking busts it down.
He just busts it down. Look up the bloopers for
It's
Princess
really
and the
wonderful.
Pauper. I know you know what we're talking about, but it's very funny. But those two are just great, and it's not something I ever thought I'd see.
Yeah.
In a Barbie movie. Just platonic friendship like that. Really rules. Erica is lovely throughout as the princess. She's just like having a good time.
Yes.
Being rich
and
for
just
a
like
little
taking
bit.
in how like exciting and wonderful it is to be in a princess bedroom. You know?
It's a cool
And
bedroom.
to have breakfast brought to you and to take the most luxurious bath in the biggest bathtub you've ever seen in your life.
You just get to watch Erica kind of do what I see Rio do anytime we're in any hotel is like kind of the vibe.
Like, wow! There's this a brief scene where Erica is taking a bath and Wolfie is feeling a little insecure because he's got a crush on Princess Annalise's cat, Serafina. And so he's trying to meow because he doesn't want to bark. And Erica sings this really beautiful song to him about like, This is where Barbie drops the killer line, "To thine own self be true," and she was so real for that. That is profound.
Wrote that line.
Yeah, but she just sings to her cat about like how wonderful and special he is, just the way he is.
There's a line early on,
and it makes me cry because it's like Barbie's saying this to me. Barbie loves me just the way that I am. Can you believe that?
You realize really early on that this is going to be a banger because of she says, "You're no status quo calico," and you're like, okay, we're putting all of our songwriting power into this song about a cat that barks.
Yes,
it's maybe the best song in the movie.
It's so tender, and it was never my favorite as a kid. I always just got a little bit bored with it, but because it doesn't really like advance the plot or anything. I am crying thinking about it. It's just like character development for Wolfie, and I think it's so tender. It's also like so nice to see that character get such a moment. Like there's a lot of room for little boys in this movie too. This was like the movie that I watched with my little brother because he loved to dance during Preminger's song. And there is this song about, like, there's a lot of male and female friendships represented. Like, Erica and her cat is another male-female friendship. And they're best friends. And it's so nice to see, like, the kind of little boy self-insert character get to be so celebrated for being who he is on the inside.
Yeah, and the song is, like, just such pure hype love from Erica. It's, like, it's so positive. It's really good.
Yes.
Annalise is in a shed somewhere with her cat, Serafina, and Nick and Knack.
Yes.
And they hatch a plan to make Serafina go under a sheet and look like a ghost.
Yes.
To scare Nick and Knack.
They make like little paw print eyes for this ghost.
So
and
she
they're like,
can
woo!
escape.
And like the cat makes the ghost sounds too. She's like, meow.
It's pretty wild.
It's pretty wild.
Nick and Knack, we've seen clowns before. And we've said those kind of fall into the Shakespearean tradition of theatrical clowns. Nick and Knack, I think, very clearly fall way more into the, like, commedia dell'arte tradition of clowning.
And they're fun.
Because they're on a whole different level of character design than everybody else. They've got cheekbones and jaws and brows that you would not believe. Which look like, if you look it up, Commedia dell'arte masks.
It does. It totally does.
Italian mask theater, where you have like set characters, and one has like the crazy cheekbones, and one looks really sad, and they look like stock characters from Italian comedy.
Yes, and they do have like very stylized kind of gestury.
I think they got like Commedia dell'arte actors to do the mocap for these guys, and by that I mean it was Barbie, who was a trained Commedia dell'arte actor. Because the thing that they don't tell you up front is that Barbie does the mocap for every character in every Barbie movie.
Yeah.
She plays all of them and animates them herself.
Yeah.
But she doesn't think it'd be believable if everybody sounded like Barbie. Yeah. And she can do a lot of voices and accents
really
and
impressive.
Stuff. But she brings in voice actors to do all the other characters.
Yes.
Which is a funny joke that I like to say to erase the work of mocap performers. Sorry, guys, love you.
Love you.
But it's funnier to just say that Barbie did it all. What's next?
So she does escape.
Oh, good.
Bounce back to the palace. Erica is falling in love with King Dominic.
What? Something's happening that should not be happening.
And man, this is the most believable, like, love within spending one day with each other I've ever seen. They're just immediately like so just like sheepish around each other. They're like so charmed by each other. And King Dominic sits down to play the piano and wants to hear Princess Annalise, which is Erica, sing. And so she does get to sing at the palace. And it's the most beautiful song ever written, I think. It's a beautiful duet. They just go for a walk in the courtyard and get to know each other. And he plays fetch with Wolfie. And the song is so tender because you've got King Dominic singing like, I'll be yours forever, which is just so like the perfect men in this movie.
Yeah, it's very
he is saying like he will
dramatic.
give himself to Barbie because he loves her so much.
Yeah.
He wants her to be able to do her thing so badly, and he just wants to watch her sing, and it's so great.
My favorite moment in this, so Annalise has this like pink theme throughout, and Erica has this like powder blue theme throughout, and they go out to the garden, and there's all the roses. There's like thousands of roses, and then there's like one blue rose, which
I think it's even like a tulip or something. But
yeah, it seems impossible. But that's the one that he picks and gives to her.
Because he just knows her.
Yeah, it's really well written.
It is doing like what Once Upon a Dream in Disney's Sleeping Beauty is trying to do.
Yeah.
But effectively.
Because we've seen people fall in love with each other, even though there is this secret that it's going to potentially ruin everything. But right from the get-go, both of them are like, I see straight through you to not the character that you're playing, but to the person that is inside. And I love that person and want to be with that person immediately to the point where you kind of have no doubt that once Annalise comes back, these two are still going to get to end up together, which is exciting. And I've never seen it land like that before.
Yeah. Yeah, so they finish up their song, they're watching the sunset, and he says, there's something about you. You're an honest person. And he leaves, and that gives Erica a crisis, because Annalise isn't back. Jumping back to Annalise, she's escaped. She goes to a tavern to find help, and runs into Madame Carp, which we haven't talked about yet. Who is Madame Carp?
Madame Carp owns Erica.
Yes.
And
the dress emporium.
The dress emporium that makes all the dresses.
Yeah.
And Annalise just keeps trying it like lots of times where everybody's like, why are you out and about? It's late. You're a lone woman on the town. She's like, well, I am Princess Annalise. I was like, okay. Go back to
she
indentured
tries
servitude.
to go back to the palace, and the guards are like, we've literally seen the princess eating dinner.
Like, we're gonna
get
kill
the freak
you.
out of here. He threatens her so hardcore.
It gets really intense really fast. Yeah. She has to turn around. You
know
what?
The loudest line in all of Barbie cinema is this guard being like, move along. It's really intense.
Yeah. So then she tries to go back. She gets roped back, being mistaken as Erica, into the dressmaking sweatshop, which she has a friend there who understands that she's the princess.
Yeah.
And that there's kind of nothing they can do about it until the next day, because they get locked inside until they finish all the dresses that they're supposed to make, which is we love capitalism.
Woo.
And
yeah. Woo.
And so Annalise is like,
rip Madame Carp, you'd love Amazon.
She was like, well, we might as well finish all the dresses. So she tries to learn how to make a dress.
And she sucks. Annalise sucks at making dresses.
She does a pretty bad job.
And the other seamstress at one point is like, you don't have to do this.
You don't need to keep trying.
You don't need to keep wasting my fabric like that.
It's pretty fun.
But Preminger shows up and is like, aha, Annalise, don't worry, I'll help you. And he throws her in a mine and reveals that he's the bad guy, and he actually doesn't want to marry Annalise anymore. He just wants to murder her.
Oops. Which
Julian,
he does. It's crazy.
It's crazy. She dies.
Stabs her to death right there.
Whoa. Martin Short, that was intense. Julian is also kidnapped because he overhears Preminger's plan and is like, I knew it. I knew you were the bad guy. So he also gets thrown into the mine, and they're left to die there. Also, back at the castle, Erica is found out because Preminger figures out everything and exposes Erica as being an imposter. The only difference between Annalise and Erica, besides the hair color, is that Annalise has a crown-shaped birthmark on her shoulder. Erica doesn't have that. Straight to jail.
Yep.
But don't worry, everybody escapes.
That's good.
That's good.
I'm sweating.
In the mine, Julian and Annalise, find that all the rocks there are geodes, actually.
Yeah.
Which introduces a really funny line, because she's like, you're like this geode. Unassuming on the outside, but a treasure within.
Her I love you line to Julian, where they finally admit their feelings. It's like, you're like this
You're
geode.
like this rock.
You look like an ugly, nasty, regular rock on the outside, but on the inside, you're great. Which is funny because Julian's hot.
Yeah.
I don't know why they wrote it
and
like that.
And it's funny because he also doesn't react to that line. He goes
he does kind of know this girl is not a great emotional communicator.
No.
And I love her anyway.
Yeah. They discover the mine is full of geodes. They also discover that there is a waterway through the mine, so they're able to float up through a gutter drain.
It's a great scene
and escape
of them escaping from this mine. It's very exciting.
Yeah, which both Wolfie and Serafina are there too, and they're fully convinced that they're just in a suicide cult.
Yeah.
Because they just start punching rocks, trying to flood the place, and the cats are like, wait, we didn't want to give up yet?
There's probably a better way out.
Escape, you guys. We don't have to give up yet.
No, but they float themselves up and out through the mine.
Yes.
While simultaneously, Preminger is now marrying the queen.
Yes.
He went straight to the mob. His plan was
why don't you marry me? Because he also says that, hey, your real daughter is completely dead. You have nothing. You should marry me.
Yeah, I have all the money.
Yes.
You have nothing. It's kind of the only choice for your kingdom and your people to marry me.
And the score right through here is so good.
And
I
so
can
she
hear it as
agrees,
we're talking about it.
and it's it gives the queen a lot of agency in this situation where she like makes this thoughtful, horrible sacrifice. So they're getting married, and it's your classic cinematic race to get there just before the I
just
do
before
is said, because as soon as you say
Erica
I do, it's
also
too late.
escapes prison by singing her way out and lulling the guards to sleep. She also runs into King Dominic, who disguised himself as a guard. That guy's got so many disguises, I guess.
Yeah.
Trained actor, King Dominic.
Trained actor. Can I just say that maybe it was the like kind of low quality version of the film that we watched, but it seems like the dungeon is covered in blood. It's really insane.
It's a spooky dungeon.
I think the dungeon is slathered with blood, which was a lot, but it's effective.
Yeah. But they escape, and just before the I do, the queen's like, I, stop! It's one of those.
Yeah.
And it's great.
It's really great.
Big chase
Good
scene.
Barbie impression.
Thank you. There's a big chase scene. Everything works out.
Hey, guess what? There's a horse in this one. The whole time. There's been a horse.
There's been a wonderful horse. His name is Albie. He's got a great
sad
French accent. He's got the saddest eyes you've ever seen. But he's noble.
Yeah, we get a sad French
He's who
horse.
helps Serafina get into the shed where Princess Annalise is locked.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
Kicking her up there.
Oh yeah,
He's a good guy.
Another great blooper. Revolves around that scene.
Yeah.
Totally worth a watch. Just review the bloopers if you haven't in a long time is all that I'm saying. I'm sure they're on YouTube.
Everything is all good and dandy.
Best ending.
Is there about to be a double wedding? No.
Yes, there is a double wedding. Annalise and Julian and Serafina and Wolfie
Yes.
get married.
But Erica just expresses that, like, she wants to become a world-renowned singer.
She's like, Dominic...
And so Dominic gives her a ring to take with her, and she leaves for, like, a couple years, it seems like. And then she comes back to him singing. There's, like, this great narration of, like, after performing for the world, she realizes there's one person that she still wants to sing for. And she returns and marries King Dominic.
It's really good.
The end.
Like, I could not believe that the two of them are having this chat, and she's like, I love you so much. You're the best thing that's ever happened to me, but I need to go live my dreams and
he's so
travel the
supportive
world.
of it.
No, and she's even like, I can't promise you anything.
I can't, yeah.
And he's like,
okay,
it's worth it.
You don't have to promise me anything, just take this because I want you to have this ring.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And I thought it was going to end there. And normally I would be like, that's the better choice. Like, let her go and live her dreams and it doesn't have to end in the wedding. But I've never wanted more for that. Like, please just let them end up together. Because it's so good. Because it's so effective.
And she comes home singing the song that when we first meet Erica, just in the town, singing her song for change. She's singing the same song. And when you first hear it, you're like, this is the worst song because it's just kind of vague songwriting. But it really comes together full circle right at the end there, and it's just the choral orchestration of that song. Stunning.
It's genuinely maybe the hardest thing to make you actually cheer for the romantic leads. And want them to believe that they're in love and want them to be together. And we've not seen that a single time, I would say. Barbie as Rapunzel gets pretty close.
Yeah, there's like
or Swan Lake actually is the best one.
Amicable relationships, but this one is like
love.
Romantic love.
Well, should we head to the lobby?
I'd love to go to the lobby.
What are you snacking on?
I'm just maybe gonna go have a little cry in the lobby, and then I'll meet you guys back here. Because I am emotional about this one.
Yeah, you have a cry. I'm gonna have some chocolate-covered pretzels. And we're back. Hi, everybody.
I'm probably going to continue crying a little bit because, man, I love this movie and I love Barbie so much, okay? I'm like... So...
Wow, it's starting already.
So I was trying to think of, like, what I wanted to talk about. Guys, I'm weeping right now. This is embarrassing. Okay, you might have to go first because I'm, like...
You want me to go
A little bit of a mess.
This is crazy.
I'm holding a Rapunzel doll. You guys are just
I'm so happy for you. Just keep writing it. This is great.
Anyways.
This is the energy that we're bringing to the podcast today, and this is important.
Greta, if you don't make me feel like this, girl,
this is why we're doing the podcast.
This is why we're doing it.
There's real stuff here. There's real emotion here. There's things that are actually real here.
So I was trying to think about what I wanted to talk about this week, and our first watch of this, we actually watched in a way that was so familiar and so nostalgic for me. We had a friend over. Shout out Laurel Buxton.
Oh, hold on, pause. We always do a part 2, and we each just kind of bring our own thing to part 2. Is your thing just going to be about sleepovers? Mm-hmm. That's what my thing was going to be about. No, this is great.
This is great.
We brought the same thing because this watching experience was definitive.
It's how you're supposed to watch this movie.
It was the biggest...
We had a slumber party.
It was the gateway into girlhood that this podcast was supposed to be for me. And
because the
slumber party is like...
What is your experience with slumber parties as boyhood? What does that look like?
There's no such thing as a slumber party.
Yeah. There's staying the night.
There's sleepovers.
There's sleepovers.
You can sleep over or have a sleepover. And what you do is you play video games. Yeah. And it's great. It's really fun.
I've attended some of those and they're so fun. I just wanted to say the way that you experience a sleepover is not defined to gender, but just in the traditional girlhood, boyhood sense that is accessible to everybody that wants to participate.
We grew up in a pretty traditional gender roles leaning area. Yeah. I certainly did. Yeah. And that's why we're doing this podcast, right? Is to kind of, this is making Rio sob, more than I've ever seen her cry in my life. And I want access to that thing that I wasn't allowed to have. And so I've had a lot of sleepovers and I love those, but having a straight up slumber party with 2 of my closest female friends, I'm going to start crying, was so much fun. Yeah. And it was so meaningful. It was on this couch. It's why we've changed where we're recording. Because I'm gonna cry. The slumber party energy unlocked something.
It's magic, for sure. Well, since we're both talking about slumber parties, feel free to chime in as I go.
I am feeling free.
My first thing that I just want to say is this is objectively, I think, maybe H2O, Just Add Water, is a close runner-up, but this is the number 1 slumber party movie for a multitude of reasons. First of all, there are multiple parts that are equally exciting, and you're given the opportunity to pick which Barbie you want to step into at the slumber party. Are you identifying the one that's closer to you, but you're also allowed to partake in escapism if you want to? So in some circles, I was Erica, in other circles, I was Annalise. I will say, though, in every circle, I was always Preminger. 100% I am a Preminger girly, but I typically prefer to identify with Annalise a little bit.
So what I wanted to do in my part 2 was have you help me quantify the rules of a slumber party, because we were about halfway through Princess and the Pauper until I realized that the 2 of you were speaking a language and following a code of rules that I was not aware of, which is I was able to pick out a couple of things, and you can keep going and we can keep pulling them out as we go. But I wanted to know what those things are. Yeah. So they're very obviously pick a team, pick a character. That's you.
Yeah, you.
That's not something you do. That's not something I'm familiar with. Mm-hmm. And it's also important that you show, and I thought this was cool. It's important that you show which part of the movie is your favorite part by telling everyone else to shut up. Yes. Aggressively. Yeah. Is an important part of it.
It's very important.
Of everyone's having fun and you need to be everybody shut up right now.
Shut up now. King Dominic's gonna sing.
So you had that. Laurel had that. It kept going back and forth until I was oh, is this a part of the ritual?
It is.
But
I never really thought about it until you pointed it out, because it's just so encoded into my experience of having a friend sleep over.
It was crazy. She was just staying with us, and we needed to watch this movie just for the podcast. And she's a fan. She's a friend of the podcast. Yeah. And so I was let's maybe lean into this and see what happens. And so I popped 2 big old bags of popcorn, and got drinks and a huge blanket that would fit over all of us, because I felt like that was maybe something that people do at slumber parties.
Yeah.
And so we were all under one blanket having popcorn and drinks and snacks. And the two of you fell right in. Like, started doing things in another language out of nowhere. It was insane.
Yeah, that is so funny.
Okay, you keep going.
Another thing about that makes this the perfect slumber party movie is that the songs are like really catchy. They're very easy to learn. The DVD that I had also had a really excellent like sing-along feature where the like lyrics were written in like sparkly pink or sparkly blue, depending on what character you wanted to sing for.
Yeah.
So it was really engaging, and it's easy, like, even if you haven't seen the movie, it's really easy to engage in the, like, performance aspect of watching a movie at a slumber party.
No, I watched it once, and I was like, oh, this is a movie that you watch on your own so you can memorize it, so you can, like, hop up on the bed and do the dance while you're watching it with your friends, and that sounds like fun.
Yeah. I also had the CD of this growing up, and so that's also, like, another shared experience of like if you're riding in the car with your friend to the slumber party, you practice the songs in the car.
No way.
So you can watch it when you get there.
That's so much fun.
And you can like decide who's doing what parts and everything. And then I also think that the content is interestingly slumber party. And here is where I would like to read a poem for everybody.
Yes, please.
Okay. I'm a little bit sheepish. I'm not like, I have to be honest, I'm like not the best reader. But so this is called Sleepover by Skylar Butler. When you ask me to brush your lustrous blonde hair, the glittery con air becomes a sword. I can't do this.
Do you want me to read it?
Can you read this poem?
Okay. Oh my gosh. I'm loving it. This is already a great poem. Whoa.
If any of you tell anybody that I read poems, I'm going to come to your house and threaten you.
Yeah, guys, don't tell anybody, but we're letting you in on a little secret. This is the first time I've ever seen the word mache, of paper mache, written out, and that almost really threw me off, but I think I can handle this.
Yeah.
I think I can pull this off.
Okay.
When you ask me to brush your lustrous blonde hair, the glittery con air becomes a sword I wait to touch my shoulder. Tell me what you think of me when your ocean eyes swallow the euphoria from my dripping tongue as I gawk at pristine baseboards, mounted shelves covered in dolls you inspired, a bed lattice and strewn with papier-mâché angels, everything you know my mother can afford. I stroke the glossed harp strings strands. I miserably mimic with olive no lie and watch you purr the satisfaction of my heart.
Yeah. So one thing that I was thinking about...
You can't just say yeah after that.
Yeah.
And it's like...
So one thing that I was thinking about...
No, it's stop. Sleepovers, slumber parties... Oh, sorry, my dog is literally attacking me because I'm like yelling and getting excited. And because Rio's crying.
Because I'm crying.
He's an emotional support dog.
He is.
Slumber parties are like this depth of emotion and connection and art that people are writing poetry about. People are making movies about. That Rio is crying about.
Yes.
There's this whole thing that until I watched this movie, I didn't realize was this like ocean of fun and emotion and connection and depth that I was just completely missing.
Very specific, like, girl-to-girl connection. And one thing that what I wanted to talk about is that, and I think it's interesting because it's represented in the movie a little bit, but slumber parties, at least for me, and I think that this is pretty universal, just listening to that poem. And I actually, this morning, you guys, I was reading scholarly articles about, like, the sociology of slumber parties. But basically, for a lot of little girls, slumber parties are an introduction to socioeconomic class. Because you don't know what a class is outside of what yours is.
In that poem for me.
Until you slumber party at somebody else's house.
That's why this is the perfect slumber party movie.
It is. So here's what I wrote about. Just like slumber parties are very intimate, and especially in like a financial understanding way, because like I've seen my friend's room. I know what she owns. I know what she's asking for Christmas. I know what her family can afford for Christmas. I have intimately seen her family's dynamic. I know how her mom lives. I know what her relationship with her father looks like. I know how much space she's allotted in the bathroom. I know the rules. I know whether this is a family that is worried about protecting their carpet. At a slumber party, I learn whether I am a dirty intruder that someone's daughter took pity on, or a guest to impress and to hide poverty from, is what I wrote this morning.
Jeepers.
Sleepovers give you like this really weird look at like your childhood friend's trajectory. I remember having a sleepover with with one of my best friends when I was in kindergarten. And I thought that she was the luckiest and richest girl in the entire world because she had this junky TV in her bedroom and we could watch Animal Planet all night. And one time when I was being dropped off at her house for another slumber party, one of the adults that I were with were kind of lamenting about, like, my friend's future, saying that, you know, she's going to fall prey to all of these, like, poor person stereotypes, like having children outside of marriage and working multiple minimum wage jobs and developing addiction. And we were, like, 5 years old. It's, like, a very intimate experience. Like, I had no idea that my friend was poor until an adult pointed it out, which also kind of made me think of, I want to shout out...
And you were also like, this is the luckiest girl in the world.
This is the luckiest girl in the world, because I think the cultural currency of girlhood is pretty misleading in, like, a realistic sense. And so that it made me think of one of my favorite artists on TikTok. It's at Not Sorry Art. And she does all of these beautiful, like, brightly colored canvas paintings of, like, the dollar store aisle that has just packages of knockoff Barbies. And that is one of my favorite paintings of all time. She also does, like, paintings of, like, strip mall non-places with, like, glittery McDonald's signs. It's, like, these things that you learn are trashy and signs of failure and garbage. But when you're a child, they are aspirational and they are shiny and they are beautiful and they are magical. And so I thought my friend had everything because she had all of the Dollar Tree Barbies and she had a TV that they got from a thrift store. And that is, like, what you learn at slumber parties. It's also kind of what this movie is about. Each of the girls in the movie, Annalise and Erica, spend time in each other's bedroom, or, like, the equivalent of it. And you see Annalise witness poverty for, like, literally the first time. You, like, see her watch a family's home be, like, foreclosed on, and they're, like, kicked out. And then Erica, like, partakes in the privilege of a hot breakfast, which is, like, specifically very slumber party core of, like, you go to the slumber parties based on which mom makes the best breakfast, which essentially is, like, which mom can afford to feed the most amount of girls. But so Annalise and Erica view each other's world through both a romanticized lens and then also have to experience the kind of raw and real discomfort that comes from living outside of your socioeconomic class for even a day. And that is, like, what a slumber party is. The first stages of a slumber party are always a little bit awkward as you learn about house rules you've never heard of before or see something that you feel like you're not supposed to see. However, Annalise and Erica's lives are both full of color and vibrancy and beauty. And once the doors to your best friend's room are closed and you are safe within the sacred biome of a sleepover, that is when little girls can look each other in the eye and throw their heads back laughing and acknowledge that I am a girl like you. And I love this movie so much, I'm gonna cry. Anyways, what do you have to say?
That was really great. Yeah. I'm gonna cry too. That was the thing that this movie does. This is the best Barbie movie. It's one of the best movies made for children.
Yeah.
Because it's just the thing that I said about a third of the way through the movie, that when you realize, like, oh, something different is happening. It's like, this movie is dripping with humanity.
Yeah. And
I'm so unfamiliar with seeing young girls humanized.
Yeah.
It's cruel, it's evil, it's, like, bad. And this movie does that better than anything I've ever seen, which is great. And it's also, like, I don't know. It's a fun movie, but this part gets to be almost, like, too much to talk about of nailing the thesis of, like, what Barbie does at her best. Barbie at her, we've said this before, Barbie at her worst, it hurts people. Yeah. And divides them and represents all the dehumanizing things about girlhood. Yes. And Barbie at her best represents the most human things about being a young girl and what that experience is like and what's amazing about it. Mm-hmm. And what's scary about it in a really human way. Yeah. And this movie only does so many of those good things. There's a lot of girls that are left out of this movie. Mm-hmm. It's not a universal picture of girlhood. No. But I could tell that it was one that a lot of people, a lot of, like, women that I know really resonated with.
Yeah.
I posted just a Instagram story of us watching this, and I was like, wait, is this actually a great movie? And this was by Preminger's first song. You realize really fast of is this actually just a good movie? Because I kind of put on my hat of is this good for a Barbie movie? And that's how I do this podcast. But this one is this is just regular good. Mm-hmm. And I posted that story and had so many people I haven't talked to since high school, girls, just yes, you idiot, this is good. We've been telling you this whole time. Mm-hmm. When you hear girls talk about Barbie movies, you kind of roll your eyes if you're raised in traditional boyhood. Yeah. That's what you're taught to do. And this felt like my moment of every girl I've ever known looking at me watching this being of course, did you think that we're stupid or something? This is a great movie. We like this. Yeah. And you're taught that girls like dumb things because girls are dumb. Yeah. That's the elementary school mentality. And this movie definitively is a piece of art that works against that. Yeah. And it's not because this movie transcends that. It's just because girls aren't dumb and girls like good stories and girls have great taste and girls love connecting with each other. Well, this is one of the Barbie movies that doesn't think I'm dumb. You know what I mean? Swan Lake is so lovely, but I don't think Swan Lake trusts me to understand a plot and stakes as much as this movie does. Yeah. You know? This movie fully trusts you. It does. Narratively, emotionally, in all of the ways, and you two that I watched this with were so ready to interact with it and receive it and return it to each other. I was so caught off guard. Let's just really quick work our way out of the crying that we're both doing right now and give me some rules of slumber parties. Does there have to be food during the slumber party part of it? Slumber parties, I think, are so an important aspect of a slumber party that makes it not a sleepover is an abundance mentality and having multiple snacks that won't run out. Are you expected to bring? Are you expected to bring snacks? I don't. It depends. It depends. I've always, if I was the new girl at the slumber party, I always brought a snack that said something about me so that people know what my archetype in the slumber party group was. This is interesting. You led my next question. What is the average number of people, of attendees at a slumber party? That I don't think it matters because I've had 2-person slumber parties. And I've had 20-person slumber parties. But what's the average? The average, I would say, usually a group thing? Is it usually 3 or more? It's usually, if you, most people I think would say that if there's only 2 people, it's a sleepover. I don't think that's true. You can have a slumber party with just yourself. And I challenge our listeners to do that. Have a slumber party with yourself. Watch this movie and have a slumber party. Yes. With yourself watch it. Or with a person that you love. This is our call to action. Yes. Have a slumber party. Have a slumber party. And watch. Invite someone over if you want to, but if you can't, just do it with your, have yourself, you know? I would deeply recommend, inviting your best friend over. I don't care if you're 38 years old. It's also, I've had so many slumber parties where it's, a get-to-know-you thing. And a slumber party is one of those, you can be kind of on the outskirts of a friend group. And if you're invited to the slumber party, you're in. If just for that amount of time, something happens at a slumber party where no matter who's there, they're your best friends in the entire world. You know what I mean? Yeah. And even if you're going to yell at them a lot, there has to be some drama. That's part of the... We've accidentally somebody's fallen into cry. This. Yeah. Yeah. We've accidentally fallen into this a couple times recently where a friend was just passing through and needed to crash at our place, and we went to go, gamble with some friends. We stayed in a hotel. Being an adult, you just don't... You forget about the sleepover. You forget about the slumber party as being the best thing you did as a kid. It's the best. It is the peak expression of inner childhood. Mm-hmm. And so, especially if you are a grown adult, I beg you, text your best friend. Text your best friend and invite them to come sleep on your couch at your house. And it will be worth it. And you're gonna watch. Don't do a late night. I know that we're adults, we have jobs. I know that the moms say it's just as good. No, it's not. It's not. Tell them to bring pajamas. Bring pajamas. And their favorite movie. Yeah. Or that you're going to show them your favorite movie. Or you're going to watch whatever. I know some of you still have pillow pets. Bring your pillow
So bring
pads,
it,
your
okay?
squishmallows.
We all have them.
Bake a treat or don't like or whatever.
Whatever.
Go to drive through McDonald's before, like whatever it looks like for you.
Yeah.
I'm begging you, have a sleepover with your best friend, or it doesn't even matter. You can do this solo.
Do it solo.
Just as good. Like a cozy blanket, a
Just
space
you and
heater,
Martin Short.
Just you and Martin Short. I would recommend this movie to anyone.
This is the one. This is the one, followed by 6.5 hours of Meerkat Manor.
But you
got
guys,
yourself a slumber
but like
party.
that's what kills me. It's like so many of you guys knew this for so long, and I just didn't. I totally missed it, and I feel such deep regret for that, and like just a lot of hope that all young people can have access to all good media
Yeah.
without any pretense, because it was so much fun watching this movie with two of my friends under a big blanket. It was like a highlight of the year.
That is the
still
year
crying
energy.
about
Big slumber party energy in 2023.
2023 is the year of the slumber
The
party.
slumber party energy.
And you're going to love it. It's going to change your life.
Yeah. Do you have a review of this movie?
I
Or anything?
do have a review. No, it's like, do we want to go deep into the slumber party world? I think we can save that for another episode.
Yeah, we'll talk about it more.
I think
This is not the only slumber party Barbie movie.
Yeah.
There are more to come.
we could save. We can continue. It can be a theme. We're trying to codify like what makes a Barbie movie. And I'd love to also land on like what makes a slumber party.
Yeah.
And that's going to be, I think, an arc going forward for us on the podcast, especially because there's not a chance there's going to be another movie this good.
No.
Not a chance.
This is the best one. You guys.
Barbie as both the princess and the pauper gets 12 out of 12 dancing princesses for me.
Me too.
Perfect score. And every other Barbie movie that we've watched, I'm going to retroactively give a -1.
You can't do that.
I'm going to. They don't have like a -1 score.
Yeah.
But this movie just made me realize that my scale has been so wrong.
Yeah.
The whole time. I've been doing a scale of like good for a Barbie movie.
Yeah.
And I think this movie
No, it's just got to be
This
good
movie
for a
just proves that was me being wrong. And maybe even sexist. You know what I mean? To like quantify, like this is just 12 out of 12 as a movie. And all the other movies get a -1 in comparison because the scale deserves more range.
The same care wasn't necessarily put into... There are moments. There are glimmering, beautiful slumber party moments in every Barbie movie. But it's nonstop in this one.
Yeah. What's your score?
12. 12 out of 12. 100%.
Okay, I will just say, first things first, most of the Letterboxd reviews are that this movie is better than Citizen Kane. So I think that podcast is already established. Like,
yes.
Everyone on here is like, this is definitively a better movie than Citizen Kane. I like Gabby's review, who opted to not give it any stars. I don't think they give it a 0 star. I think they just they don't rate it. They just favored it, this movie. And Gabby said, made children become aware of the notion of class structure Marx could only dream. This movie is Karl Marx's dream come true of a slumber party movie.
Yeah.
And I'm thrilled about it.
Zoe has a bold thing to say. 5 stars. There's a lot of reviews about freaking The Cat's Meow, the song she sings to Wolfie, just helping a lot of little girls through the difficulties of coming out. Because Barbie says it's okay. And, like, that is so... It, like, makes me emotional.
Yeah. Will, another fellow Will out there, 3 stars. If Greta Gerwig doesn't bring back Preminger, we riot. Can you imagine? Live action Martin Short as Preminger.
Can you imagine? 5 stars from Ari, who says, Annalise's birthmark is proof that divine mandate exists within the Barbie cinematic universe.
So true. So true. You got any more, my love?
I think that's it for me.
I think I could read these all day. Totally take a look at the reviews for this one. They're special. Mm-hmm. Thanks so much for listening.
Thank you so much.
What are we watching next week?
I don't even know.
So moving forward, this is where we sort of exit the canon of Barbie movies that I'm familiar with, just because I think Princess and the Pauper was like the peak of my age group's interaction with Barbie movies. So we're moving into a whole new era. I consider like Nutcracker through Princess and the Pauper as like the first wave phase 1 of the Barbie cinematic universe.
Yeah.
And I think we're officially moving into phase 2.
We are moving into phase 2
Is
because
it?
next week it's Barbie Fairytopia.
Yeah, this
the
is-
infamous Barbie Fairytopia.
Okay, this is a hardcore, like, phase 2 shift.
This is a hardcore
We're going in a
phase 2
different
shift.
direction. I know nothing about Fairytopia, but I know that it's going to be different
Yeah,
than anything
it
we've
is.
seen.
It is very different.
I'm excited
Yeah.
to have another slumber party with you and watch Barbie Fairytopia. And yeah, it's the best. Guys, it's the best. Well, we'll talk to you next week.
Love you.
Love you.